Now I'm going to talk about a special kind of factoring called grouping. I know that there are some people who use factoring by grouping to actually factor trinomials. So if you know how to do that, you'll probably already know what I'm doing here. I'm going to use factoring by grouping when I have 4 terms and I can split this up into 2 groups that have something in common. So that's the grouping part of this. I'm going to split this into 2 groups right in half. My first group is 4x cubed plus x squared. I look at this and I figure out that these have x squared in common, so I'm going to factor out an x squared just from these first 2 terms. This is my first group. So when you divide an x squared out of 4x cubed, we still have the 4, and now I only have one of the x's remaining. Now for that second term, it doesn't just disappear. Remember, when you divide something by itself, it equals 1, so I'm going to write plus 1 after the 4x. Now on to my second group. There is a rule that I want you to remember. I introduced this with regular factoring back when we did trinomials, any kind of factoring, I would do this. Take out a negative if it starts with a negative. So in this case, my group starts with -8. So even if it had absolutely nothing in common, I would take out a -1. However, this does have more than just a negative in common. I can take out a -2. And then I write what I have left. So -8x divided by -2 would be positive 4x. Then I have -2 divided by -2, and just like before, because I'm dividing something by itself, I'm left with 1, and this is a positive 1. Now, if grouping is possible, then those parentheses are going to match. Notice they are both 4x plus 1, so grouping worked here. So because both of these have a 4x plus 1, think of it as you are removing the 4x plus 1 from each group. So I write that first. You can write it second if you want, but for this video, I'm going to write it first. Once I take out the 4x plus 1, you write out what you would have left. You would have an x squared in the first group and a -2 in the second group. Now, after you look at this for a second and make sure that it's completely factored, you can circle it because this is done.